Hello, friends. I've already started teaching you in this platform that is YouTube. So, my first lecture was about the syllabus of NTNet, especially talking about English literature. Now, in my second lecture, I would try to uh, help you in guiding which books to read so far British literature is concerned. So, in this lecture, I'll uh, tell you the names of certain books that you must read from cover to cover. That is, you should not miss any words from those books. So, according to my preference, the book that you must read uh, is number one, the Routledge edition of History of English Literature. When it comes to number two, my preference is a short history of English literature published from the Oxford University Press and written by Andrew Sanders. The third number, it's David Dych's History of English Literature, Volume 1 and Volume 2. So I think if you can really go through these three books, it would be enough for the time being. And there's a very basic book that I think every aspirant of net English literature should go through, and that is M.H. Abraham's book of literary terms. So these books, these are the very basic books that you must, as a beginner, that you should go through. Now, talking about other materials, I must tell you very frankly and honestly that although we have a syllabus of net that has been provided by the NTA, but as such, when it comes to the practical ground, that is when we are attempting the net examination, then you will find that it's totally chaos, because you cannot predict which questions are going to be asked in the net examination. However, our endeavor would be to study for the net examination in a very methodical way. And I believe that if you start from the British literature, it would be easy for you to cover the other literatures, that is the non-British literature, the Commonwealth literature, the Indian English literature, and the other literatures. Uh, Now, talking about literary theory and criticism, I think for literary theory, uh, we don't have any comprehensive book for that. So you can use the Google for reading the literary criticism. And so far literary theory is concerned, I think there's a very good book by uh, published from uh, Rutledge again, and it's Tyson's Critical Literary Theory. So that book is quite illustrative, so you can go through that book. It's a very nice book. And then we have certain other books also that you can I think you can follow. So I'll tell you about those books a bit later on, but yes, from that point of view, literary criticism and theory is very important. So we have another book for literary theory, and that is A Reader's Guide to Contemporary Literary Theory. It is published from Pearson, and it's written by three authors: Raman Sheldon, Peter Widdowson, and Peter Brooker. So this book is quite handy when someone is preparing for NTNet English. And another thing, nowadays we have our Android devices, we have our laptops, and also it is expected that internet is available to each and every student. So use your internet resources as much as you can. Spend your time very wisely when you are preparing for net, and at least you should make a proper routine and you must follow it. At least you should divide your study time into certain sections, and that is how you can prepare yourself for the NTA net. And lastly, I would also like to say about paper 1. See, paper 1 is very important from the net perspective, because without having a good score on paper 1, you cannot expect to qualify net or JRF. So paper 1 you must not neglect. I can understand that most of the students, those who are giving their papers for English in the net examination, they afraid paper 1, but you must not neglect it. Paper 1 is a much needed thing. I mean, you can understand, right? So please do not, I'm repeating, neglect paper 1. Thank you. I'll again try to upload certain other lectures for your help. Good night. Take care.